Casual's Guide to Beating Mare the Knight. This is a particularly hard boss battle, at least for me. This is only the second time I've actually beat him. I do find him to be semi-difficult just because of the nature of Mare. His attacks are constant, and I have not quite got the pattern down. This fight, you really need to get the pattern down, but if you're kind of a noob like me, I do have a few tips and tricks to get you through it.
The evil cloud does indeed talk too much.
First thing is while you're doing the rest of the game, beating all the other bosses, you want to pick up as much of that health as possible for increasing your max health. You see here I started at about 256 when you start off at, I think, 70 or 80? You want to have as much health as possible, and you also want to get the blessing where you can revive 3 times. So you essentially have an extra 3 lives, not full lives of course, but you have 3 partial lives. That's what I've noticed has helped me beat Mare, because obviously I'm taking quite a few hits. It took me 10 minutes to beat Mare on this run. This is not my best run by any means, but he does a lot of attacks very quickly. Trying to avoid those black and red balls that he sends out, and they can bounce. My movement was really slowed here in this particular boss battle because I had a cursed relic that slowed down my movement speed. Otherwise, I may have been able to dodge more of his attacks. I did win, but that doesn't mean it still wasn't difficult here. But quite obviously, dashing is going to be your best friend here. Those spin attacks are probably the most difficult to dodge, because you have to look at what direction he's going to go in and dodge in the opposite direction, essentially, or the same direction as he's coming towards you. So dashing into Mare is probably the best option, and into his attacks. That's what I've done for most boss battles, is dashing into the attacks when a dash is needed. Just wasn't quite quick enough on the uptake here. I'm not saying to ignore these smaller enemies here, because they can do quite a bit of damage. But if you are able to pick up something like what I picked up, and you see in this video where the poison comes out of the die, you can just keep throwing the die at them and keep trying to take hits at Mare. That's probably your best option with smaller enemies when he does spawn. Now, the longer you take on Mare the Knight, the more difficult enemies I've noticed he spawn. There's enemies the last time that I didn't see that I've seen this time, and I'm playing on the same difficulty. I haven't upped the ante or anything. But this one's taking me longer just because of the disadvantages I have. But try and get a few relics if you can. Obviously it's random what you get, but try and get a few relics where your charge attacks and your dice do damage while you have them out. So here, I was able to pick 2 different relics that allowed me to do fire and poison with a charged attack. And then, like I said before, my dice was able to do poison when I had it out. Any kind of attacks like that are gonna help you, especially as you're trying to dodge, because there's not a lot of time in between his attacks and moving around to actually take hits at him, unless you just want to lose tons of health. So I show you kind of what that looks like the rest of the video, just taking shot after shot after shot towards the end, especially once I started losing lives. So it can take quite a long time. If you're good at his patterns, you can take less time. You can dodge and hit, dodge and hit, dodge and hit. But you have to be quick. This is probably not the weapon to do that with, because it's a slower weapon. Perhaps the sword or the spear would be better options for doing that if you want to do it quicker. And just learn from my mistakes. Watch the rest of the video, kind of learn his patterns, and you too will be able to beat Mare the Knight.
Death can wait. It was Natalia's power, Fortune, that freed us from Mare's draining grasp. It took me a while to realize. In her final moment, through you, a part of her will always be with me. That was for Rack and his lousy jokes.